A lot of big names that have made their intentions known or already jumping into the portal and showing up in that, queue. And one of those big names that we saw yesterday to really kick the whole day off was Ohio State's quarterback, Kyle McCord. Now, the thing with Kyle McCord is I don't think this was a situation where he was unhappy and wanted to get NIL dollars, something like that. I think Kyle McCord and that coaching staff probably sat down and had a very transparent conversation. And by nature of him being in the portal, I believe that conversation went something like, hey, we appreciate what you've done. We're probably going to look at our options here when it comes to our starting quarterback next season. Kyle McCord, more power to him, says, thank you so much. I'm going to explore my options too. And this is a difficult spot to be in if you're Kyle McCord. Because all my guy did as a starting quarterback at Ohio State was go 11-1. Now, that one loss was to the one school you cannot have a loss to. But I think when we zoom out a little bit and we play this thing out a few months, maybe even a couple years down the road, this might end up being best for both sides of this equation. For Ohio State, it's clear they would like to have a quarterback that allows them to get over the hump and beat Michigan. Looking at Kyle McCord and the trajectory of what he was at Ohio State, you don't feel incredible about your chances if you were to play that game again tomorrow. So, with the pressure on whoever plays quarterback at Ohio State, with the expectations you have, you say, we got to go somewhere else to get different results. More power to him. For Kyle McCord, I think there's a lot to be said about his ability. Because I think there was so much said about how he ran the offense and how many points they weren't scoring a game relative to when C.J. Stroud was there. But Kyle McCord, by nature of people that are close to Ohio State, had one of the best, if not the best, arms on the team when C.J. Stroud was there. That is what people that are close to Ohio State have told me. So taking their word for it, because I don't think they would just lead us along to say that. But when we talk about Kyle McCord going forward, let's not pretend it's about his ability. I think he can still be a Power 5 or Power 4, Power whatever conference starting quarterback should he find himself in the right system. And also something we got to probably mention with Kyle McCord and the Ohio State situation, the amount of pressure on whoever starts at quarterback for Ohio State is just substantial. The expectation is you're a first-round draft pick, you're a Heisman Trophy finalist, and you're leading Ohio State to an undefeated regular season record, to the college football playoff, and a national championship. No pressure. This, to me, could very well end up being a situation like Bo Nix had at Auburn. Just change of scenery, get away from all the pressure, all the expectations, get somewhere where you can just thrive. And maybe Kyle McCord does that. So for Ohio State's sake, for Kyle McCord's sake, we hope both parties are better off. But he is in the portal. That was a surprise to me. And that's kind of the day and age of the transfer portal right now. Now, Dillon Gabriel, someone we're going to talk about a little bit later in our transfer portal quarterback prediction segment. This, to me, was always a possibility, I suppose, because of his connection with Jeff Lebby and Jeff Lebby taking the head coaching job at Mississippi State. But I was surprised because I thought Dillon Gabriel put himself in position to be in the NFL draft conversation. Now, we'll see. That may still end up being a place he goes, I suppose. Currently, he's the number 2 player in the transfer portal for us here at On 3, has one more year of eligibility left. If I'm Dillon Gabriel, I got to feel pretty good about the NIL attention I can demand because I think he is the most proven commodity in the portal right now, quarterback or otherwise. School I'm watching here, obviously Mississippi State. I think Oregon makes a lot of sense too. We'll talk more about where we see him going here again later in this live show. But Dillon Gabriel being in the portal, that is not a small fish by any stretch of the imagination. Someone will get a game changer and a proven game changer in Dillon Gabriel wherever he ends up. Let's show some love to some other positions here. Let's go to the Ohio State wide receiver, Julian Fleming. Julian Fleming was the number 1 wide receiver in the 2020 class. So dude can play some ball now. And just by nature of him being recruited to Ohio State, they don't take you at wide receiver if you're a scrub now. And Julian Fleming, I think, has proven he can play the position at a high level. I think similar to Kyle McCord, it might just be a situation where you have to get in the right situation. And for Julian Fleming, for the way that it looks like he's approaching this process, Ohio State wasn't the right situation for him. So, again, a lot of talent, a lot of ability. Might just be a system thing. You also wonder how loaded Ohio State is at wide receiver, if that had any impact on him, because it wasn't like he didn't have a role. Dude had north of 20 catches. I believe he was somewhere close to 300 yard receiving on the season. Really great perimeter run blocker. Somebody's going to get a stud in Julian Fleming. Jaylen Catalon, Texas defensive back, is also in the portal as a grad transfer. Now, he probably played his best football at Arkansas. He was first-team All-SEC in 2020. He's a guy that's played at a really high level when he's healthy. That's kind of the key word, when he's healthy. Had different shoulder injuries throughout the course of his career. If he's able to stay on the field somewhere, he's going to be an asset for any and all defense. So you hope he's able to get healthy, be healthy. And unfortunately, it didn't work out at Texas for him in the long run. He appeared in 8 games this season for the Longhorns. He is, of course, on the move by nature of the segment. Brock Vandagriff was a 5-star quarterback in 2021 when he came out of high school, committed to Georgia and obviously was at Georgia. Per Pete Nakos, Kentucky's a school to watch here. And I would say this with Brock Vandagriff: just because you don't cut it at Georgia or you don't start at quarterback for the University of Georgia doesn't mean you're not any good. So keep an eye on Brock Vandagriff and where he ends up. The report is, again, per Pete Nakos, we're expecting a quick decision. Now, Kentucky makes a ton of sense. Like I said, you could stay in the SEC if you're Brock Vandagriff, be in a pro-style situation under Liam Cohen, have a track record with portal quarterbacks. Does Kentucky with Will Levis previously and then Devin Leary last year. Keep an eye on Kentucky. That makes a lot of sense when it comes to Brock Vandagriff and where he may end up at. Now, Andrew Mukuba, before we got on air, announced his intentions to enter in the transfer portal, or either ended up in the portal, one of the two. By the time you see this, he may already be in the portal. He is a safety who has a career total of right around 150 tackles. Super productive. I mean, he's good size, 6 foot, 195. Has had injuries over the course of his career as well, been a little bit dinged up. Talking to somebody close to Clemson, the idea maybe, and this isn't solidified, but the speculation is him being moved around that defense could be a situation where he wanted to get somewhere and stay somewhere position-wise. Really productive player. He's someone who is going to make your team immediately better being on that defense. He was a name I was surprised to see jump in there. A school that I'm watching just by nature of where he's from Austin, Texas. Longhorns would make a lot of sense for Mukuba, so we'll see what happens with him. But stud defensive back for Clemson that's in the portal. So, again, college football Black Friday is what's happening right now. And there's a lot of plasma screen TVs that are ready to be fought over in the parking lot. Those are just a few of those big names to keep an eye on. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.